first introduce, we have Nadim Kutab of Zevio. We have Kevin Toninato of System One. Mani Gutipati, who just finished his presentation, and we have Maor Benaim that does a lot of media buying for a lot of stuff. So first off, and this is more in line with what we discussed today, with what we heard today. Like, AFD has been in the game for quite some time, and there are rumors it's going away. Apart from the fact that Google said what they said, like, what should we expect to happen, and when will it happen? Like, what's your take on this? Like, everyone, like.
Yeah, I first of all, I want to say thank you for having me and having us, and I think that everyone that's here absolutely has to not only love, but probably be in love with media buying at search arbitrage, because sitting in this sweatshop, suffering through this, really shows about lots of dedication. Going back to your question, I think that at the end of the day, Google loves that traffic, and they're making money on it. And as long as they would love it, yes, the industry is kind of like in a risk mode, but it has always been in a risk mode. So I think that as long as Google still likes the traffic, we're supposed to be good.
Thank you. What's your take on it, Manu?
It's hard to say what Google is thinking, but I think they're moving towards content. It's also good for traffic sources like Facebook. I think even if AFD survives, it's going to be the 3-click model where you send traffic to a content page and then to the park domain. I think the way to go is RSOC. I think Google has made it pretty clear. With the AFD partners coming into RSOC as well, like it's going to be very interesting.
Thank you. Kevin, what do you think?
I think this year has had a lot of speculation more than other years. I think there's been a lot of rumors going around about what Google is going to do, what Google's not going to do. I think we've seen a lot of changes in how they're dealing with compliance and how they're leaning more towards quality of the site, quality of the brand. But to say that they're going to sunset a product that they've been running for a decade or more, I don't think it's going to happen. Even with the email from this morning, I still don't think that it's going to happen. They've been making money on it for a long time. They have invested millions of dollars into it. I don't think it's going to go anywhere anytime soon. But we have seen, like we've said, and like a lot of people have discussed this week, that Google is investing in high-quality brands, high-quality content, and there is a clear shift that everyone has seen over the last 12 months. So I think, to sunset a product completely, I don't think is going to happen, but I think everyone is clear that there's a shift coming into brand quality and quality content.
Thank you, Kevin. Nadim?
Thank you. I think before I say anything, nobody knows what Google is going to do. Let's make that very clear, right? We all thought we'd be living in a cookieless world today, and we all know how that's going. I think AFD is dying. It'll die a slow death while we move to RSOC. Google knows that RSOC isn't ready yet for the main stage. There are things that they have to tweak and will have to tweak in the coming months to bring AFD advertisers onto it, and for us to be able to achieve the same type of scale and profitability that we're used to from AFD feeds. That being said, obviously, start working on RSOC. Start testing it. Like this isn't something you guys want to sleep on and then be late to the party when everybody else has their things dialed in. It's more work, right? Nobody likes more work. I hate more work. I'm just as lazy as everybody else in this room, but that doesn't mean that we can continue doing the things we've always been doing, and we've seen that the last 2 years have been a roller coaster. And I think the next year will continue to be a roller coaster, but one that we can make an incredible amount of money off of if we do it right.
Yeah, and if I can just add to that, I feel like with media buying in general, and this goes not just for search arbitrage, but also lead gen and e-com, the advertisers or the people who receive the traffic, in this case Google and the end advertisers, would always have to balance what's going on our end. So you see it with, for example, Facebook ad accounts, when there was lots of black hat things were extremely tight on Facebook. So accounts became more sensitive, accounts went down. So it's the same thing that's going on here. We have more people pushing traffic, more people pushing uncompliant traffic, and that's why Google is gonna tighten down on compliance and on products. This is why the shift from exactly what Nadim has said, the shift from AFD to RSOC would be a quality shift. At the end of the day, Google has to take care of where they're getting the money, and that's the advertisers.
Absolutely, thank you. Now, since we're talking about our SOC, like, there has been a lot of stuff happening, like clawbacks, tracking limitations, and I guess this is more of a question for Kevin rather than the other guys here. But what should we do? Like, what is the solution? What should we expect? And apart from the traditional content requirements, like, what should everybody know when preparing for our SOC? Like, it's okay that they need to create a website and they need to do it properly. Content needs to be original, but is there anything else you would like to add? Like,
yeah, I think Google is still figuring out what they want to do with RSOC and how it fits into their ecosystem. So I would say, a message to buyers and owners: you have to be patient with Google. And they say something is coming, and it ends up coming a year later, and it's still not ready. So I would say be patient. I would say another thing is focus on building a quality brand, not just putting together a site and some landing pages and trying to take advantage of hacks and quick wins, but really develop a brand that people would want to buy from. People would want to say, these users that visit this site are valuable. This page provides, quality users, is a set of quality standards that you hold yourself to that's higher than a landing page or something simple like that. So I would say, from what we've seen from Google, there's been this push towards quality, and I think those that respond to it and build a quality brand are going to be rewarded with plentiful profits over the next couple years.
Case in point.
Yeah.
Case in point, nation.com. I mean,
so the next one, like, in terms of geo-targeting, what have been the most successful geos? And I guess this is more for the media buyers, but not limited to. So what have been the most successful geos in terms of scale and revenue besides US? Like, what verticals? And if there are any seasonal, like, I know nobody wants to talk much about this stuff because it brings competition, but
Yeah, so
we have to talk about it.
US mostly, and we see UK and Australia working for us really well. But like I said, 60% of it would be US. If we look at foreign languages, I'd say Brazil is a good market, and we see it working all the time. Germany is a good market, and Mexico is always good. Like, we always have some profitable campaign running in Mexico. So I would say these are the countries. But that shouldn't stop you from testing new countries. Tier 3, just be careful with the quality of the traffic. But yeah, everything else, just test. You'll be very surprised.
someone's making money somewhere or everywhere. I mean, let's be honest with that. There are campaigns that we've seen and that we've run that were in the most random geos. English campaigns in Vietnam, as an example, were just insane for a while, where we were running at 200 to 300% ROI on a couple of $100 a day per campaign and ad spend. So what I want to say, as I mean, we do mainly native ads, right? You guys are mainly social. Native ads have a much lower barrier to entry in countries and in languages that you don't know. Right? With social, you need to be, it is harder. It is not impossible, don't get me wrong, right? But it's definitely more effort per creative output than the native ads. And native ads allow you to scale in countries you've never been to and you don't know the language and you have no contact point with, in verticals that are evergreen, right? Credit cards seem to work in pretty much most places. Why? Because everybody's using credit cards. And it's just something that I think we often forget. We always look at the US and are like, well, the US is there and we want to start in the US. Especially if you're new to this, you're probably going to get I'm going to say this, ass handed to you in the US because you're competing against these guys, right? And you just won't be able to outcompete them in terms of creative output, but also rev share with the networks. So think outside the box and definitely go for the tier 2, tier 3 geos potentially, but be careful with the quality. But tier 2 geos are insane and can be very, very profitable at decent scale. And we're talking 5 figures a day.
Yeah, so I think that going back to what you said, in search Arb in general, there isn't a lot of creativity that goes down in terms of media buying. So when you do that, choosing geos and really utilizing your unfair advantage, like for example, we would have media buyers that know how to write and speak in Arabic, and they're absolutely crushing it with everything that has to do with the Arabic language. So this really has to do with how creative you are. I think that at the end of the day, the go-to place for everyone is US, and that's why you do 60% there. We do around 50-55 of our traffic. But if you're looking for something creative, I think that the long tail, exactly what Nadim said, tier 2 countries, stuff like that, you have lots of opportunity there, definitely.
One piece of caution that I would give with testing tier 2 and tier 3 is to make sure that where you're advertising and what you're advertising is lining up with the advertisers that are paying for those conversions. Because if you're getting some advertiser who's looking for US traffic, but they're getting traffic from Vietnam or Iraq or wherever it may be, you want to make sure that the advertiser that's buying your traffic it lines up with what you're advertising. Because if there is that mismatch of the traffic that's expected versus the traffic that is provided, there will be chargebacks or worse. So you have to be very careful to make sure that your ads line up with what the advertisers are expecting, or you're going to run into some trouble.
Yeah, so this exactly is what I'm telling my media buyers, because we have lots of stuff. So Search Arb is only one operation, and I'm an advertiser on Google as well. So at the end of the day, when I get an ad up, when I get an RSOC site up, going back to the quality talk that we just had, my kind of like internal compliance is the question, would I, as an advertiser, want to get this traffic to my e-com or lead gen? Because if it's garbage, at the end of the day, just like you said, 2 weeks would be a lot for an advertiser. You know, as an advertiser, you are optimizing, you see whether it's a YouTube channel, a site on GDN, anything like that that's not converting, you feel like it's bot traffic, you're gonna kill it. So, you know, maintaining good quality is always good. If you're looking for a fast, quick hit, and you're gonna say, hey, we're gonna cure cancer, and the guy sells, I don't know, like sex toys, the traffic isn't going to convert, obviously.
Headache remedy.
Yeah.
Like those ads that
Yeah.
you see, like you just see the
Yeah.
face, and you know what it is.
I'd like to add one thing to that, and I think this is something that is often not discussed. We are all competitors in this room, or most of us are, but I don't see us as competitors because, let's be frank, none of us here can really move the needle towards Google, right? We're all this, if you look at it in the bigger picture. And by taking very small, short-term, opportunistic, campaigns that are trash, but are making high money, you're doing everybody a disservice. We all are going to have a harder time. We all are going to have more compliance to deal with. These guys are going to have a harder time making our life easy. And I think that it's a very short-term strategy to think like that. And when we create campaigns, it doesn't matter for what. It doesn't matter in what region and what geo. We're always looking at quality. We're always trying to make sure that the clicks, the ads that we're running, are on the a step away from the line, right? I'm not saying run the cleanest things in the world, for God's sake, but definitely you want to be on the left side of that line and not on it.
Yeah, so lower CPCs or lower RPMs would be the smallest hit that you're going to take. The biggest one would be clawbacks, and after that, we're going to have bigger issues like we have had with Google in the last year.
Yeah, accounts suspended and stuff like that. Like it's not abnormal. I guess we touched already a little bit the compliance side of things, and I'm directly skipping that. Now, social versus native. Like once AFD used direct linking only for native, and over the past few years it has been allowed on social as well. Like, what's happening? How's native doing these days? Like, and I guess Nadim has to take most of the pressure here, but I'm not limiting it to Nadim because I know that Maor does some stuff, Manu does some stuff as well, and Kevin sees a lot of stuff on his back end. So what's the status with native, and how do you see it moving forward?
We're making hundreds of thousands of % of ROI. No, obviously it's been a journey this year. The summer was rough. Margins are definitely lower than they've ever been. You need to compensate with scale and thinking outside the box. Our highest ROI campaigns are not in the US. That's the truth. At the same time, and we see this with Nation.com, the other feed providers, I mean, are definitely catching up slowly, but definitely surely. RSOC can work. RSOC can be hyper profitable on native. It's just a lot more work. It's not, build one page and slap some ChatGPT text on it and then you're set. No, it requires weeks and weeks of testing. And I mean, you said it. You tested dozens of pages and 4 of them worked and were scalable. I'd probably say on native, it's going to be a similar, if not worse, ratio to success with RSOC pages, but it's the key to scaling sustainably and consistently. I mean, we work very closely with Zato, and they're as are all the feed providers. They see the demand for RSOC. They are pushing it. They are thinking about ways to help us advertisers cut down the amount of work that we have to do to see success there. And I can only urge all of you to talk to your feed providers and ask them, okay, how can I help you guys make this product successful? Because at the end of the day, if the feed providers are able to offer us a product that we can work with in RSOC that makes our life with RSOC easier, it's good for everybody.
Just so we know, how many people here run on Facebook? Quick show of hands. Don't be shy. We're not going to steal your campaigns. Natives? Any kind of Google product? So Google would be 1%, and then we have something like 80 Facebook, and then what was it, like 25, 30 natives. Interesting.
Yeah. Kevin?
Yeah, I think we've seen, like going back to your original question, that it used to all be native to direct to lander, and then social came in and allowed it a couple years ago. And I think native has not quit. They have found a way to work with the feeds, work with the providers, work with the publishers, finding ways and profitable placements within there. So we've worked closely with Taboola and Outbrain and MediaGo, and they've each put together placements and stuff that have worked not only on direct linking but also on RSOC. And I think the future of RSOC and the content pages themselves will open up even more placements and will provide the native networks to be able to go and get even more publishers. So I think the future is very bright with RSOC and the native placements and their ability to go out and get more publishers.
Thank you.
So we recently started again on native, and we haven't scaled yet, but from what we see, the premium publishers, they want content pages. So it's RSOC that they want, and we want premium publishers. So I think native is going to work out really well for us. Kind of excited, but we'll see.
It's too early to talk about it.
Sorry, what?
It's too early to talk about it.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well, thank you, guys. I would like to wrap it up with the questions and not continue with other ones. Guys, before we wrap it up, I would like to remind you that we will send a few follow-ups via email. So if you haven't scanned those QR codes and haven't registered already for the events, please do scan the QR codes that are outside at the entrance. We will send not only an update on the content, but we will also send you some sweet deals that you can take advantage of. Like free money is always good in a way or another, so why not taking advantage of them?
And 20% on my OnlyFans.
Okay.
Everyone here gets 20%.
Is
You get
it-
25.
Is it?
You what?
I want 50. No.
No, you get 25. I need to make a living.
If you're going to make me subscribe to it, I want 50 at least.
Not this time, buddy.
Thank you, everyone. and
Trust me, this is my target audience for my
Yeah.
OnlyFans.
Thank you, guys, and please have a meet with each other and network a little bit.